What's up, Tasty Nation? Welcome back to the show. My name is Mike. I'm here with Jermal, and we've got a very special guest, Mr. Kevin Davitt from the Nasdaq. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I like being a very special guest.
Yeah.
Feels nice.
Very, very, very special guest. I'm happy to report I've booked my first NDX winner.
All right.
The follow trade account. I'm sure you remember we put on that 300-point wide butterfly.
Yep.
And I just let it sit for a long time. Market kept grinding higher, and then we had that 3-day downside move where on June 9th I closed it. We were down like what, 1,500 points.
All times.
That day.
Yep.
Yeah, it was crazy. But it was a $200 winner. So
biggest point move in history, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, that is kind of the beauty of a butterfly, is that you can just let it sit there, assuming you were long the wings, you know your risk, and you get that move and monetize, or you can wait until expiration if you're really trying to look for a big winner.
Big hit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was nice. It was like 8 days left to expiration, so that down move really appreciated that value. But yeah, the downside hedges we were talking about earlier, like that's one thing you can consider when we're at highs is
we're back in an environment like that where, generally speaking, maybe not this morning, but by and large, we've been grinding higher for 2 weeks or since that risk off stretch. And we're, as this chart that we're looking at shows, back very near those all-time highs, and interest in downside is not quite as low as it was last time we were here, but it's also not expensive by historical terms. So I don't think that's a wild idea.
Love it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been an interesting market, man. Big times for you guys in Nasdaq. SpaceX IPO options started last week. What's the word?
The word is there is clear interest in SpaceX and very, very clear interest in optionality, or like unique exposures and ways to manage risk. So there's like countless ways we could look at this. But for the audience, options started trading on Tuesday, so nearly a week ago. Day one, we saw over 1.7 million in volume. Putting that in context, that's trailing only the index ETFs. So like Qs trade more than that, SPY and IWM might be slightly higher. Nvidia and Tesla are the only single name equities that on average trade more than that. We saw that volume carry throughout the week. And one other interesting bit is like we focus a lot as traders and on the show about short dated trading. We saw activity in nearly every listed strike. And I think that may point to awareness of this expedited lockup cycle, the inclusion in a variety of index products, which is either occurring or likely to occur in the next couple of weeks, and people trading around whether they were part of that IPO, because the delivery to retail was much larger than typical, and they understand the power of optionality, and they're doing so both tails, like super active.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think it's really interesting to hear that. But to your point, like people trading it for the high IV, they're going to be in the near term cycle. But people that are like, hey, I want to be in this thing because I think it's going from 150 to 400 over the course of the next couple of years, regardless of the near term volatility, like 150 is still a decent price point. And what we know about volatility, and we talk about this all the time, like the really high IV is concentrated in the near-term cycle.
Right.
Those leaps are still heightened in terms of implied volatility, but they're not crazy. Like the skew is going to be towards that 30 to 60-day window, and of course the weeklies. So if you're buying those options out on the SpaceX curve, we can see it here. Like just looking at the table mode, you can see the near-term 90%, 93%, 90%, and you have this really high implied volatility. But back here, 68%, 70%, 72%. So like you're not paying for that super high IV that we're seeing in the near-term cycles as you go out Jan, June, December 2028. And I'm impressed that these are listed this far out.
Yeah, you know what, to that point, I think we'd have to go back and look at the tape, but I'm pretty sure day one I looked at the leaps and they were, and open that up real quick, because I'm pretty sure they were $100, like deep in the money leaps, and now they're like more in the like, yeah, I was looking And not the 100 strike. I'm pretty sure obviously at the time it was trading like 200. I feel like the, 160, 170, 180, they were like 100 and change. And now they've come in, obviously some, not only vol wise a little bit, but definitely price wise. Obviously now that we're down $40 or $50, wherever we were. So it's definitely changing quite a bit. Something to keep an eye on when we talk about volatility in space.
Vol-wise has that near dated stuff was like 110, 120. Now, granted, the near dated and putting an IV number on that is a little bit specious, right? Like, what price move are we likely to see? But looking further out, that long dated stuff was around 80, high 70s, 80. And so it'll be fascinating to see what sort of mean reverting volatility this name moves at.
Yeah, it's the hot button topic. Everybody's paying attention to it, and you've seen a lot of the names pull back. So I think on day one, you still were seeing this go up, but like the proxies, if you will, ASTS and Rocket Lab, they were actually pulling back, and then now they're all pulling back. So that's kind of the ebb and flow.
Here you go. Something I shared with your producers over the weekend. On the left-hand side, you're just seeing the breakdown by exchange family of that 1.7 million plus in overall option volume. And then to the point I made when we kicked off about this expedited unlock cycle and that interest at very distinct points in time in the future after the first expected earnings and after some significant lockups expire in the near term, it'll be fascinating to see how this plays out. But day after day last week, we saw very, very significant volume. You had a quarterly options expiration, and we will see the end of the quarter in about a week's time. And what a quarter it's been. As you guys likely remember, markets reversed March 30th. We saw we were at some interesting downside strikes for some wrapped product at that point in time, and it has been off to the races over the past 3 months.
Yeah, and it's wild to see volatility. The volatility curve has come down. We're steep in contango again. The crude oil curve has come down. We're basically flat there. So I think the only thing left now to prevent this market from just climbing higher over time is the interest rates, like we talked about. I mean, that could be the catalyst.
And I feel like that's starting to play out just a little bit today. You're seeing some bifurcation here. You're seeing the SPUs down, the SP 500 E-minis. You're seeing Nasdaq down. You're seeing Russell up. You're seeing the Dow up. And that, to me, signifies something going with rates. 10-year yield is up almost 1% today, almost at 4.5. So I think that's the thing to watch. That sort of poked its head up last week, as did the dollar, and I think that's starting to play out right here. So, just when you think like there's nothing going on, there's nothing to worry about, the war, whatever, all of a sudden you got a new catalyst in the market, and that's kind of how things go.
That's what makes being part of the market so great. There is always something, a narrative and some risk to manage, and we get to talk about it and hopefully educate the listener and point out opportunity where that might exist.
Listen, I think about that meme that I see all the time with Dwayne Wade, who's one of my favorite players, and he talks about in the All-Star game, he broke Kobe's nose. He was like playing him hard D, and he finally broke his nose, and he thought Kobe was going to be mad, and Kobe looked at him and was like, I love it. That's how I feel.
Crazy
about
eyes, broken nose.
Yes, exactly. No, I love it.
Amazing.
I love it.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. And to your point, the beauty of the markets is like everyone has a different, there's plenty of everyone's got different jobs, different sector interests, and there's always a narrative. Someone always has something in their back pocket. Like one of my good friends repairs cancer treatment machines, and he's a brainiac, for lack of better words. And he always has these like fringe things that he's looking at, like uranium in general, or like uranium producers. I'm like, why? Tell me why. And then he goes on the narrative. I'm like, okay, makes sense. Like,
yeah, compelling. Yeah. Little edges, right? Like people tend to focus on a handful of products, or at least this is something you and I have talked about historically, as opposed to following that shiny object, whatever's hot. Trying to focus on a handful of products where you really feel at home and have a sense of what's going on there. I think, again, I'm a little bit inclined to sort of commodity and broad-based products, and that's why I like talking about an index, because it's not necessarily that one idiosyncratic risk, but it's spread out and sort of what's that dynamic at a broader level. But that's not necessarily for everyone. But seeing how that plays out and how different people look to establish and grind out edges is fascinating. And I think you're talking about that in specific areas of the market, and they exist arguably everywhere.
Yeah,
True.
And on that note, we've got a crazy market. E-minis down 24, Nasdaq down 50, down the Russell up. Interesting divergence there. Bitcoin up 2,100. But Kevin, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break here. We've got Liz and Chris on the other side. It's been a fun morning show. Jermal, happy to be back.
Good to see you back.
I actually have been feeling like I'm rocking in this chair, so that might be happening a little bit.
Too much coffee?
Post-cruise. Yeah.
Post-cruise rock. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching Tasty Live. We'll see you on the other side of it.